Hi everyone, my name is Pavel. I work as a Scrum Master, trainer and facilitator. And recently during my TBR training, I had a lovely conversation with other people who were in the room regarding what is the relationship between training from the back of the room, that is mostly about how people learn, and workshops that I facilitate a lot, especially as a Scrum Master. And the outcome of this conversation was that maybe all the workshops that we're doing are really about learning. And what is it that participants learn? And this thought struck me as maybe we can use the concepts like 4C and 6 trumps when we try to structure our workshops as facilitators. And so I just wanted to share my thoughts on this with you. So the first step in 4C map is the phase of connections. And in relation to workshops, this is where you connect people to each other, but you also connect them to the goal of the workshop. So it's like, what is it that we need to learn about? Do we all agree why we are here in this workshop? And that's something that you can structure your opening phase of a workshop around. Next phase in 4C map are concepts. So this is where we are looking at the content of the workshop, and we are trying to figure out what we will achieve with this step of a workshop and how it's going to be structured. So probably this is where we explain people how we're doing some steps in the workshop, why we are doing them, and what's the goal of this specific section of the workshop. Next phase of 4C map is concrete practice. This is the phase where people start producing some content themselves, the actual content of the workshop, something that will be the outcome of this phase of a workshop, or maybe wherever the goal of the workshop is. That's the direct link. The last step in 4C map are conclusions. This is where we work with the outcome of the workshop. So what is it that we achieved? What are the decisions? Who is taking ownership of those decisions or next steps? This can be the result of conclusions phase. So this is related to how we structure the workshop itself. How do we build the agenda and the contents of the workshop? And when doing that, we can think about 6 trumps in order to make sure that we maximize learning of the workshop participants. So the first trump is movement trumps sitting, and it's worth remembering that even just standing up increases the flow of oxygen through your brain, and in result it helps you to achieve better thinking. And you should remember that when you're structuring your workshop, that it's good to have people moving around. Even when you're doing an online workshop, you can have some activities like remember to stand up whenever you're having a break. Next trump is talking trumps listening, and it's important to remember that the person that is doing the most talking is probably doing the most learning as well. So whenever you're structuring your workshop, remember that people should talk a lot to each other during workshop. So if you're working with large group, for example, it's great to break this group into smaller groups where people can actually have some meaningful conversations between themselves, and so that uh, everyone gets a chance to speak, not only the most vocal people in the room. Next trump is writing trumps reading. And in a workshop setup, it's important to remember that it's great if a lot of people can contribute. And the easiest way to do it is to ask people to write their input down, for example, on post-it notes, and then collaborate using this input from many different people. Use this rather than having one person generating most of the content, writing it down, and having all the people to read it. Rather, structure your workshop in a way where everyone can contribute and everyone can write their ideas down. Next trump is images from words. We human beings, we are highly visual animals, and I think a great way to engage people during workshops is to work with visual templates. So you can guide people through whatever it is that you're doing by using a template. So they know how to navigate the exercise. You can build metaphors around your exercise using a visual template, and it's just a very useful way of structuring your workshop. Next trump is shorter trumps longer, and brain science shows that we human beings, we can't concentrate on one thing for too long period of time. So whenever you're structuring your workshop, it makes sense to have a series of shorter exercises rather than those long periods of time when people need to concentrate for too much time, because they won't be able to do that. It's also linked to the next trump. Last trump is different trumps same, and everything that is new catches our brain attention, and that's why it's good to step out of your comfort zone and try and do your workshop in a new way. Maybe instead of using PowerPoint slides, try to draw something and explain steps in your workshop using this type of visuals, just so that people actually experience something new which will catch their attention. That's it. Thanks a lot. That's all what I wanted to say in the topic of how do you use 4Cs and 6 trumps when you're structuring your workshops. Hope you enjoyed it. Thanks.